welcome to another episode of the Total R&B Podcast. My name is Loreena, and today I'm excited because we have someone who was on the podcast before. He was actually one of my first guests on the podcast, so it's really exciting to have him back, and we have so much to catch up about. So he is Montreal's own R&B soul singer, songwriter, producer, director, because he directed one of his music videos, and we're going to get into his single that's coming out on the 26th of January that everyone can listen to Pride Before the Fall. So, welcome back to the podcast, Wayne Tennant.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for responding to me when I sent you the press release. But I remembered you were one of my big supporters. So thank you for responding.
You know, I love your voice. I always say that. I love your voice. And so I was happy that I received the press release. I was like, look at me moving on up.
Oh man.
So
Wow.
thank you for that. So that was really great that you sent that to me so that I was like aware that, you're coming out with new music that I can support and listen to.
Awesome.
So happy about that. But
Yeah.
I want to take it back just a little bit because the last time I spoke to you, you were getting ready to release Curfew Flowers. You just put out your video, What Led Me to You, which you actually directed.
Yeah.
And then we found out during that time too that it was also licensed for the Canadian Academy for Cinema and Television, which was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
feel like
forgot
there was
about
like
that.
a lot of things that were going on for that project. Like a lot of good things were happening for you career wise. So if you could just, tell us like that moment, like how you felt and how you feel that everything kind of, you know, went about.
Well, especially during that time, it was pretty significant because we're in the midst of a pandemic.
Hmm.
And here was I at the onset of the pandemic wondering where my career was going to go because everything just went like a full stop,
Hmm.
and depression set in, and it was like I didn't feel motivated. But fortunately for me, I was surrounded by friends who kind of just said, Wayne, this is the most opportune time to release music, so take advantage of it. And of course, everybody was stuck in their homes, so I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely going to take advantage of technology and create, and basically, long story short, um, Curfew Flowers was born, and so it happened in October 2021. I released it. And prior to it being even released, um, I remembered Pop Montreal reached out to me, and I ended up doing an acoustic thing where it was like on a rooftop, and it was during COVID, so it was like everybody was social distancing,
Hmm.
whatever. But out of that mess, it got me a lot of attention, and then it ended up being in the Pop Montreal Festival, music
Yep.
festival, and a couple really significant blogs kind of like picked up on me and started writing about me and stuff like
And
that. So
we can't forget to mention Exclaim because you were one of the top 8 emerging artists,
yeah,
which was a big deal.
yeah, it was a big deal. I was just like, wow, like next level. So I was so grateful for that and just took full advantage of it, and it ran its course. And then it was sort of like, okay, the veil was lifted, so to speak, off the pandemic,
Hmm.
and things started to come back to normal. But things were never really the same, you know? So you had to sort of just like rejig everything that you were doing and kind of navigate, and I think the whole thing for me was collaborating with other people, other bands, other artists, you know. Out of that, I started collaborating with Busty and the Bass, went on tour with them. My friend Luop,
Hmm.
who I was in a Juno nominated band called God Made Me Funky with over 20 years ago, reached out to me, and he was working on a song called Praises, and he needed the hook on it. So I decided to put pen to paper and record it. And I'm reminding you, this is all virtual. So
Okay.
we're still in I would say the latter part of the pandemic.
Hmm.
And anyways, I recorded my vocals and sent it to him. And then out of that, I was inspired to come up with something on my own.
Okay.
And I reached out to him, and I was just like, and it's funny because it only happened because I got stuck writing the song.
Oh, really?
Couldn't finish the second verse to save my life. So I sat on it for maybe 4 months or so.
Hmm.
And then I sent it to him, and he worked on a verse, and he emceed it, rapped it, sent it back to me. And it was brilliant, and it inspired me so much that I wrote the third verse, and hence Pride Before the Fall. So I kind of went beyond what I was supposed to explain, but anyways, there you go.
But it all has to do with just during that time frame of the
Yeah,
pandemic when a lot of people just don't know what's happening or what the future is going to look like. But I am happy that you did end up releasing music during that time because it's needed. We were home. Music is like my life. So it actually gave me the time to like sit down and really like listen to music because I find now that things are going again and there's so much music that's being released every Friday where I just don't have the time to like really dive into someone's project anymore because you always have to like move on to the next one, try to like keep up, and
right.
it's too much. So during that time I was I really appreciated it because we needed it, we needed the music, and of course the music was good. Like it's a EP and every song is a good one.
Oh wow.
Like
Woo.
every song. So it
Oh,
was like it was well done and it's something that people need. And one thing I do appreciate too is like you take your time. So between like that project and the one that you had in 2015, was it Life in Minor
life in a minor key. Yeah.
Minor Key? Yeah. So like you don't disappear on us like Sade, like you still give us like music and like duets and features and stuff like that. But you know, you take your time and you put out, you know, whatever it is that's moving you at that time. And I think it translate in the music and to the people that are listening. So I think that's why you have such a fan base that really like appreciates your music. So
It's thank you for reminding me of that because I don't release music when I compare myself to other artists, whether you know in the same league as me or on a whole other level, big or small. The whole idea these days is to pump out music constantly, 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 and it may seem like I'm putting out on a constant, but I'm actually not. Compared to all my fellow musicians, I don't. And because I got to live a life
mhm,
in order to be inspired to write. And I want to write quality music versus, you know, disposable music.
yeah.
Nothing against people who do that. You got to do what you got to do.
Mhm.
But I'd rather have a song that I put out 10, 12 years ago be still fresh as the day that it was released, rather than being sort of like every 5 months I got to put something out, you know. Um, so yeah, I mean, prior to this, there was the duet that I did with Sandy Duperval
Mhm.
back in the summer. Here we go again. And then before that, it was Curfew Flowers. So if you see the span between, it's like a year or so, you
Yeah.
know.
But
So
that's what I mean. Like you don't like leave us. You're not
oversaturated. Yeah, I don't leave you like yeah,
like, where did Wayne Tennant go? Like, what happened to him? Like, you're still around,
yeah.
but not like a full on project. But I do appreciate that because I feel
Thank
like
you.
sometimes it's like it's too much, and then the person starts to sound like repetitive,
Yeah,
like there's nothing new that's coming from them. So I more so enjoy an artist that can, you know, take a break, live life, experience something, and then come back and give us a project. So
hmm,
that's
cool.
dope. So speaking of inspiration, I want to know Pride Before the Fall. What inspired you for that track? You mentioned it a little bit with connecting back with Luop, but like, what is the track about? Who produced the track? All those things.
Um, I wanted to write something new, and I was also in my feelings at the time with everything that was going
Mhm.
on. So it just kind of like poured out of me, almost kind of gospel bluesy kind of way when you hear the beginning of the song.
Mhm.
And so I was just playing some chords on the piano. I had my whole session open and I was, ready to create something new. And that's what came out, those first four chords. And and then it's the weirdest thing. I had this kind of like 90s kind of um late, I would say early 90s kind of like soul to soul kind of feel vibe that I had going on.
Mhm.
I'm When I listen to it back now, it's not really there, but that's what I was thinking of. All these things were going back, back to life, back to reality, that sort of thing, Karen Wheeler. So that was there. And but there was this melancholy that was kind of running through my veins.
Okay.
And I didn't feel like sanitizing it. I wanted to just put it out there, in the composition. And so I did it. And I shared with a couple of people that I work with that are musicians. And one of them was Nadina Altunji, who's an accomplished singer-songwriter herself. She's been my guitarist for years. And every now and again, I kind of like call her up and be like, yo, I want you to lay some guitars on this. So I played it for her and she was just like, Wayne, yo, I'm really feeling this. And I said, I think I need you to put down some guitars on this, both acoustic and electric. And so she did. And long story short, I still sat on it because the production, I was almost too in it. And I
Okay.
started hearing things that weren't there. So I again walked away from it for about 4 months. And sometimes you just have to do that. And then after 4 months, went back to it. So this was now going to 2022. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with this. It's almost done. And so I altered the vocal, just cleaned up some stuff. By then I had loose verse on it.
Okay.
And then it was like, okay, it was one of those things where I didn't know when I was going to release it. I just kind of let time dictate it
Okay.
according to how I was feeling. I didn't want to rush it either. If I did rush it, it would have been out actually last summer.
Mm.
But I was like, no, just listen to your heart. You'll know when the right time it is. You'll know when the right time, calls on you. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to push it out during Christmas. I said, you know what? Let me start 2024 with it. Anyway, the inspiration um, was from personal, melancholy, blues, trying to figure out um, life
Mm.
and where it was taking me and my dissatisfaction with it, society, um, money problems, you know, and I also knew that in the back of my mind, it was something that everybody could relate to,
Mhm.
you know. So, but as I got to the third verse, I started to look at the issues that were happening with government, with governments all over the world, especially in the U.S. Healthcare, lack of healthcare, people can't afford it, you know. Um, then I was also inspired by Palestine.
Mhm.
And so that kind of inspired the visual. But inadvertently also was kind of tied in with the lyric, Pride Before the Fall. And I remember one of my best friends always used to say that to me because I always had an issue taking help from anyone.
Okay.
Always wanted to do it myself, in everything. And I guess I had that voice in my head because my family always taught me, like, stand on your own 2 feet, you
Mhm.
know, don't depend on anyone. So that kind of um, permeated through my young adulthood right into my full adulthood. And so I always had that voice in my head, even when I need help. I'll still say no thank you, and like, and somehow suffer
Yep.
unnecessarily, you know. And then if I did receive the help or take the help, I would always feel pressure to pay it back
Mm,
rather than pay it forward.
right.
So the chorus is pride before the fall. Everybody needs some help. Sometimes there ain't no shame. Pay it forward. So I also kind of tied that in with, you know, I'm, I know you remember when Black Lives was happening, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and the whole world was marching for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now I'm looking at Palestine, and Palestinians also marched for us.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm seeing that they're in need. And it's like, without a doubt, like, I know there's some black folks out there saying we should mind our own business. We should look out for our own because they're not going to look out for us. But that's not necessarily true
Mm-hmm.
because there are people out there that actually understand our plight and empathize and are willing to help us. So it was one of those things where it's like, I'm going to stand up for these folks because at the end of the day, it's about humanity.
Yeah.
And if I can't even if it's the only thing that I can do is use my voice through my music or through reposting and calling a spade on social media, you know what I mean? Whatever difference that can make, whatever ripple that can make to eventually cause a wave, I want to be a part of that. I want to be on the right side of history. So that's where it's kind of like a little bit of everything that I just told you wrapped into the song.
Listen, everything that you just said is so spot on with what a lot of people are going through. So this is definitely going to relate to a lot of people. I know for myself, I said I'm tired. So anybody that wants to help me, hi.
Yeah, yo, like for real. But help me for the right reasons,
Oh no, of course, of
you
course.
know?
But I'm the same way. Like I'm so like I do everything on my own. I'm like a one woman team. And it's like, no, you can't do everything on your own because you're basically burning yourself out and then you're trying to get everything done, but done at a certain level too, right? Because I feel like a lot of us, especially like creators, we're very hard on ourselves too. So I'm all for collaboration. If you have ideas, if you could point me into the right direction or anything, like I'm all open for it because I'm just like I can't do this all by myself all the time anymore. Like it is exhausting now.
Because
So,
something ends up suffering,
mhm.
whether it be the work or your mind, body, and spirit,
Yep,
you know?
exactly. So, I can't wait for everyone to hear the song and see the visuals. So definitely everybody that's listening and watching, January 26th, go to the streaming platforms, go to YouTube and run up those numbers. Because yeah, it's a lot that's happening today
Hmm.
that is very stressful, that is very like sad to see, to look at, to hear about. And I always feel that music is very powerful. So I think also too, this will be another way to make people maybe realize what's going on and talk about what's going on, because I feel like a lot of times, like when you mention like things that are happening with Palestine and the government, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but it needs to be talked about because I think it definitely needs to change. Um, because so much stuff has been revealed within the last, I would say, year and a half, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like, if for me, I look at it, I really believe in that whole statement of um, if it's happening if lack of freedom somewhere is lack of freedom for everyone
Mm-hmm.
eventually,
Mm-hmm.
you know. we enjoy all these privileges, here in North America. Mind you, we have our own issues,
Mhm.
but if you see what's happening over there, it can eventually happen over here. And we've seen the mess with the US government, that whole Trump train, and, that whole wave of people who are wanting to undo
Mhm.
um, rights and freedoms.
Yep.
Um, so it's just like, it's only a matter of time. So we're all connected.
Oh no, definitely. I just someone sent me just the other day a TikTok video of Jane Arden,
Mm,
and she had bumped her head. She was, I guess, playing like on a VR machine or something. I don't
yeah.
know, but she bumped her head, and so she went to the emergency because
Hmm.
her head was open. It's bleeding,
Right.
and this is in Canada. She's in Alberta, and her friend was with her, and luckily her friend was with her because her
Is
friend,
this the singer, Jen Arden?
yeah,
Okay.
and her friend had to clean her head. And then she got like checked out and they put the staples. They gave her a pair of fresh scissors and said, in 12 days, have someone help you take out the staples. And they showed her how to take out staples.
Okay.
Like, this is where our healthcare is going.
It's
Like,
going
it's crazy. Like, whether you're in the US, whether you're in Canada, I feel like we need to hold the government more accountable.
accountable.
I feel like we need to speak up more. We need to vote more. We need to look into who are these representatives,
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of people only care about like the major campaigns that happen, like when we're voting for a new prime minister. But I feel like all at the lower levels as well, we need to really like look into what's happening
Your
because
local government. Yeah.
there's there's no way I can go to a hospital and somebody tells me have someone take out the staples out of your head after 12 days. Like, there's no way.
It's
No way.
insane. Like where did we go wrong to get to this point? I don't understand.
I have no clue.
We can no longer brag about our healthcare system. I wanna, I could easily go the typical R&B route of
Hmm.
just talking about love and consequences. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And not to say that we shouldn't write about that, but there's so many things to write about in so many clever ways, to get a message across.
Hmm.
And I want to be somewhat of a messenger without trying too hard, just kind of like address certain things, but in a certain way where it's like I'm not preaching, but when you hear it, you're like, did he just talk about,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the third verse, I talk about my body is a lost cause. 20 years neglecting. Those years have finally caught up with me. No money for healthcare. No one's going to save me,
Mm.
you know? And, you know, I didn't feel, there was a point where I was just like, oh, wow, are you preaching? Are you being too dark? But when you hear the music, it's uplifting. So it's
Right.
like, yo, let's ride on this hope. Let's ride for change, you know,
No,
rather than accepting it.
I agree. I feel like there should be a balance. Like, yes,
Yeah.
we need those love songs because I feel like love itself is healing. And
Yeah.
but we do need to talk about some serious topics that are happening in the world because I feel like a lot of people navigate towards music and it catches people's attention. But I think because it's just something that you're just passionate about, like you posted on social media anyways,
Yeah.
um, I feel like you would just find a way to bring it out in song where it doesn't feel like, oh my God, like not again,
Right. Right.
it would be, a good song or a good project. So I don't think you would have a problem with being like too preachy or what have you. Because I feel like the same thing with here we go again. Like
Mhm.
it's the beat of the song, like you start swaying and dancing, but the topic it's like it's a serious topic. So I think you have that on lock already. Because at first I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" But then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, yeah. The juxtaposition, you
mhm,
know, and I like pushing the envelope, you know. That's why I listen to people like Marvin, the greats. I mean,
yeah,
that's what made him such an amazing writer. And I think, there are a lot of people out there that are saying, yeah, I do R&B, whatever, whatever. But
hmm
I'm like, I gotta question that because, right now everything's about a vibe
yes,
rather than, you know, songwriting where you have a verse, a chorus, a bridge, and you have a really tight subject matter,
hmm
rather than just trying to rhyme for rhyme's sake. You know, people just got lazy. So I kind of, you know, I don't want to be the gatekeeper to the genre, but because of the era that I grew up in, I kind of take it. I'm a little bit sensitive,
hmm
um, to the genre and what it requires in order for you to call yourself an R&B artist. I understand everything has to evolve. You
yeah,
know what I mean? But there's some core elements that can't be taken for granted and cannot be erased and should be followed.
yeah. But that's what makes the difference of, like you were saying earlier, making songs that last. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I think that is a difference. A lot of people hop on the trends and they want to be, catchy and they want to be a vibe. But then it's
right,
like after the year's over and the music has changed to something else, we don't really go back and listen to those vibes, right? We actually skip those vibes and go further back and listen to the Marvin Gaye's or Donny Hathaway, or we'll listen to a Jodeci, or like,
right.
there's certain types of R&B music that we will always go back to,
Too.
but there's thousands of songs that we just don't
Every
really.
time I used to look forward to like every Friday or it was every Thursday when then turned into Friday where you got new music, whether it be when during CDs were being sold and you'd rush to HMV,
Yeah,
or you check out iTunes at midnight on Thursday to see what comes out. And maybe I'm just getting old, I don't know, but everything is just skippable now. Everybody sounds like everybody.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's so disposable, you know, and it's like I have to really be discerning before I find something that's like, oh, you know,
hmm
this is worth, more than just listening to once,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So, you know, now I find now that I'm going way back. Like I'm going like back to the 90s. Like, I mean, I was listening to like Gerald Levert just yesterday, you know.
but that's
Um,
mainly what I'm listening to. It's crazy. Like if you look at my Spotify or you look at my top, like everything is not, like there are some current artists that I listen to, no doubt, but a
right.
lot of, like a lot of the playlists that they make for me based on my listening habits,
Yeah.
it's all old
Old
school,
school,
all of it. It's
you
so
know.
crazy.
It's
It's
nuts. And I find when I listen to these old records, it's like they're new again for me.
hmm
You
hmm
know, I get that certain nostalgia about when I
yeah,
first listened to it. It's almost like a recycled nostalgia, you
yeah.
know, that I
Or
can't get with these new stuff. I can't do it. I can't get it.
yeah, not everything has that. It doesn't. I don't know. The feeling just doesn't connect.
It
I don't
doesn't
know.
connect.
I don't know what it is. So even
That
now, for me, I'm like listening. There's like certain songs that I would listen to, but because I was so young, like obviously I didn't have their albums. But now I'm
right,
going back and I'm actually listening to like their full albums,
right.
like what else was on there, and I'm having more enjoyment doing that than waiting up until midnight for Friday to see like the new releases sometimes.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
the other day, somebody said to me, mind you, and they're of this, the millennials. He's like, yo, I like that track, and I had to sort of like correct it. I'm like, there's a difference between tracks and songs. I make songs. I don't make tracks. No offense to anyone that does tracks.
Yeah.
And to me, I define tracks as, something that's like on a loop or is
Hmm.
built off on a loop, not much melody there to begin with. There's not really a structure. It's just a vibe. I call those tracks. And there's some
Okay.
great tracks out there.
Hmm.
But then there's songs, man. I'm like, you got the hook, you've got you've got the chorus, that you've got the pre-chorus, you've got the bridge. You know what I mean? Again, people like Babyface,
Or like
who is like
a
my
story.
yeah. There's a story. You know what I mean? And then even the chord structures. You know what I mean? There's different colors. You know, you know, harkening back to Stevie Wonder, all those people. Those are people I look up to. You know.
Yeah.
So
No.
it's like if they never put out another record again, it's okay because they have such a body of work that I can always refer to.
But that's another thing too, because I want to get into like streaming and how artists are getting paid, and it's something to say about like a Stevie Wonder or a Babyface, even though he just recently put out like an album.
Yeah,
Like even if he didn't put out that Girls Night album, he could still tour off of his songs for the rest of his life. Like he doesn't have to ever go in a studio again, but he does it because he has this love for it and he's so good. But there's such classic music and songs that people are still requesting them. They're still getting like
they're
sold
even
out.
redoing them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true too.
You know,
Yeah,
so it's just like I mean, and never mind the body of work that he wrote for other people.
right.
You know what I mean? And that's what's so cool is that when he does his concerts, he also performs the hits that he wrote for other folks.
Yeah. Have you
You know,
seen him in concert?
I have not had the pleasure. I did have the pleasure back in the day, Much Music in Toronto at the
Yes.
building, where sometimes they would you'd call in, and if you
Hmm.
called in at the right time, you could get tickets to come and see your favorite performer.
Oh
And
wow.
I had gotten the chance. I called in just the right time, and I got tickets to come down and see him do an interview. And I stood 6 feet away from him. That's
Oh
as
my.
close as I got to him.
Oh my
Security was like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in the same room with my hero.
God. Oh,
But
that's
I
cool.
never got to see him perform.
Well, I
Yeah,
hope you do. Maybe we'll
I
put
hope
that out
so.
for 2024.
I hope so, man. Yeah, that would be the ultimate. But
Yeah.
getting back to, yeah, streaming, as you were saying.
Yes. Because streaming, there was a lot of talk about it last year because every so often somebody will post how much streaming platforms pay out to artists based on a certain number of streams. And
Right.
to me, the numbers are crazy. Like I'm like, how is an artist supposed to make money from streaming? Because like obviously record labels and stuff like that, they don't really push, for you to buy albums anymore. Sometimes some artists get to, have vinyls being sold, but I feel like the majority of the push is with Spotify. They want these artists to have these relationships with all of these DSPs and promote being on playlists and stuff like that. So I want to know how you feel about it, and also is being on these playlists, does that transfer someone from listening to you to actually like purchasing tickets to your show? Like, is there a benefit to that?
Well, I don't do many shows, for one.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, in this city, there's a lack of venues now, for one. Um, so if I do perform, I make it really count. Um, I haven't really bought into the idea of numbers. To
Hmm.
me, it's a turn off because a lot of people out there are now buying these numbers. So that's one. People are buying likes. That's two. Um, People are buying followers. Three. So it really doesn't mean anything. If anything, it's sort of like it's a charade. It's smoke and mirrors. And
Mm-hmm.
the industry is basically saying, please play this game so that we can make money off artists' backs and pay them little next to nothing.
Yeah.
And I've just decided that I don't want to play that game. I've been tempted, trust me. But at the end of the day, when I see it, I can't even eat. How does that even make any sense? I come from an era where people or records, you would get a certain percentage off the records being sold. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Physical records. You know what I mean? And you could tour off that. But now it's gotten to the point where it's like you're getting literally cents. How is it that a Pharrell can get what? I forget what he had. Was it like a billion streams or something? Was it a billion or I think was it a million? I can't remember the number, but it did not make any sense because he had one of the biggest songs, which is Happy,
Mm-hmm.
on the platform Spotify, and he only got $4,000.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how does that make literally any sense? The math ain't mathin',
Mm-mm,
you
not at
know?
all.
So, um, I just, for me, streaming, I use as a default, it's a resume for
Okay.
my body of work. I have to now look at other ways of making money. And the only other way I can think of is touring,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't mind. At the end of the day, I like the idea of bringing my body of work to life, to people that can feel it, hear it. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
energy. You know what I mean? Um, so I'm all about that. I would say the second, and it's right now probably one of the biggest ways to make money is licensing and sync.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So getting your music on Netflix, and that's where I'm kind of aiming towards right now. Building a body of work, having a strong enough catalog that I can shop that stuff and get it. Um, People can discover me through platforms like Netflix. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And I'm getting some good money off of that. You know, um, so even just getting that opportunity for what led me to you to be on the Academy of Actors and such for the Canadian Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just having that song for me, just having that song heard by people who've never heard me before, um, that to me was worth more than anything else. You know, um, and yeah, so that's where I'm at on the streaming thing. To me, it's a calling card.
Okay.
But I would not recommend to anyone else who's up and coming to play this game of numbers. Maybe it's because I'm just not interested in being signed to a major label. And if I was to ever be signed, it'd be on my own terms.
Okay.
You
Which
know,
makes sense.
something. Yeah. You know. But yeah, I don't. I think it's a joke, and I
So then
think
how
it
can
devalues.
oh
Mhm.
sorry.
I think it devalues the body of work. A lot of people don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into putting together a composition,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and marketing it, only for it to be what, streamed. Come on.
So then how can we best as like fans or and consumers, how can we best support artists?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm still gonna put it out on platforms like Bandcamp,
Mm-hmm.
which um, compels you to buy it if you want it.
Okay.
Um, um, yeah, that's where I'm at, But am I depending on that for me to live? Nah, it's not even, again, it's a platform where my music can be heard and be, consumed. But um again, like I said, like take advantage of the licensing and sync. Take advantage of um hone your craft in such a way where you can perform your music live
Mm-hmm.
and be able to tour it, you know. and get your fan base. That's where I would say. But don't depend on these platforms. Use them as part of the game, but nothing more.
No, I think that's really good advice because I'm not an artist and I was just confused. Like,
It's confusing. It's very confusing.
yeah, I was just like, I don't understand how an artist is supposed to make money like that and why it's such a big deal. But yeah, I feel
You
like
know.
if they use it kind of like how you're doing as a resume or just,
Yeah. And
something
I
to.
don't post my numbers anymore. I'm just like, because that doesn't mean anything.
Hmm.
It really doesn't. You know. But if you wanna get on the bandwagon and do that, great. But I hope you know the math. you know.
Yeah, no,
So
definitely. Okay, so I do want to play a game before I let you go.
oh, I remember this game.
We're not gonna do R&B trivia. It's really easy. You're just gonna give me some songs. I'm gonna put out
Okay.
some moods, some vibes, and you're gonna give me a song. But before
Ooh.
that, another thing I want to mention, because y'all, if you guys go to Wayne Tennant on Instagram, he is always posting these delicious recipes, food, everything on his page. And I always see these things and I'm like, oh my God, that looks so good. So is there gonna be like a recipe book that's happening? Or is there gonna be more recipes included into your project? Because I know last time you were baking cookies.
I'm actually working on a project. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but I'm definitely gonna be involving my culture, where I
Okay.
come from,
Okay.
my story with music. That's all I'm
Okay,
gonna
good.
say. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly every time I see it too, I'm like, he should put out a cookbook or there should be like a secret recipe involved with like every project or something because you always have something on your page and it looks so good. And I'm like currently I don't know what it is for the last couple of months. I've been obsessed with banana bread and you had posted banana bread the other day. Like, oh my God.
Thank you for noticing, because a lot of times I do these posts and I'm like, is anybody even seeing this? And then I have people like you, whether they respond or not, I'll see them on the street and be like, yo, I saw what you posted the other day.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, okay, so people are watching.
Oh yeah, no, we're watching and we're hungry.
I
Yeah.
love to cook. I love to cook. And I think that would be I don't understand. It would be a mistake for me not to incorporate that with my music. And so, I'm not scared about this idea because I don't think it's like um an idea that's nobody's ever thought about.
Hmm.
I'm sure people have tried to do it. The question is, how do you execute it? And that's where I wanna be able to execute it in such a way where um, it will leave a lasting impression on my fans and inspire other people to do it. Um, I thank God for COVID, because COVID kind of like forced me. It's not like as if we could go out and eat, so it
Yeah.
forced me to sort of just like hone my cooking skills and enjoy cooking. And I wanted to encourage other people to do it. So that's where I'm coming from. You know.
Oh, I'm here for it because that's every time I see it, I'm just like, he just needs to do something that involves like cooking. I don't know if it's a book. I don't know if that will maybe lead to a show. Like something needs to happen with cooking because every time I see something, I'm like, oh, this looks really good.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm happy to hear that you are working on something. So it's something that we can look forward to. So thank you for
Definitely.
sharing that little tidbit with us.
Yes, man. And I saw your last interview. I forgot the guy's name. I started following him. He's based in Trinidad, I believe.
The last guy is Will Gittins, maybe.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He's from Trinidad, but he lives in LA.
In LA.
Yeah,
What a shout out to him. You keep doing your thing. I'm inspired. Like, really, really cool artist.
yeah.
So,
No, he's really smart. I find
mm,
with growing his career because he did it on social media,
okay.
and one of his songs called Zodiac was like a big sound for reels at one point.
Ah,
When everybody was doing the Zodiac, like this is my sign, this is my age, this is what
right.
I do, whatever. So that was him.
Okay.
that led him to like grow his social media even more. And yeah, he's been doing like a lot of different cool things. Like he wrote a song for Chris Brown, he wrote a song for Tank.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he knows that it's not like an elevator. He's okay with taking the stairs and slowly building.
Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoy learning about his story.
Total
Yeah.
respect. Yeah. He was one that he got my attention. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
he's doing something.
Yeah,
So,
no, he's pretty cool. So but that's the thing. There's a lot of artists that are doing like good music and they want to put out like quality and stuff like that. It's just, you know, taking their time to get recognized by people. They're not, skipping the line or, trying
mhm.
to, hop on a trend or anything like that. They're doing whatever it is that works for them that's bringing them slowly to where they want to be. So,
I'm just trying to make my own lane. You know what I mean? I could
mhm.
totally get on that whole TikTok thing. I think I eventually will kind of get back on there, but I'm not pressuring myself to follow any kind of trend. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, oh well, whatever. But I just don't want to be.
Put your food on TikTok and you'll be good.
Maybe, maybe it'll work. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try. I'm gonna try, but like, yeah, I just don't want to feel pressured that this is gonna get me to that. Like, I just
No,
no.
that takes
I want it to feel organic and feel real.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think just being yourself
Yeah,
and doing what you've already been doing anyways because
yeah.
it works, and I think that will be fine as a way to grow on TikTok. So,
hmm
yeah, I
You
think you
know?
got it.
Thank you, thank you.
Of
Wow.
course. Okay, so I
Okay,
am going to get your R&B picks. We're going to make like a little playlist, a
okay.
song. Okay? So, I need you to give me a song that you would play that always puts you in a good mood.
What song always puts me in a good mood?
Yeah.
Um.
Like for me, I would say Optimistic by Sounds of Blackness.
Ooh.
Like that song, if that comes on, like I'm going to dance, I'm going to feel
Yeah.
happy, I'm going to feel positive.
My kind of girl. Uh. Babyface from his Whip
Ooh,
Appeal album.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's way back, but that always puts me in a good mood.
Okay. I
Yeah,
like it because Babyface has all the classics.
he's just oh my god. Or every little step I take, Bobby Brown.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's always a good one that gets
yeah,
you want to get up and dance.
yeah.
Um, what's a song you would play to turn up to?
Rock Steady by the Whispers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
one too.
That yeah. I wanna break out when I hear that song. That bass line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
That's
Yeah,
another good group too.
yeah. Great group.
Okay. What's a song you would play when you're in love?
You love me, Jill Scott. And E flat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
Yeah,
love that song. That's
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. What's a song you would play when you're going through a breakup?
What if Babyface?
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a song you would play? Let's say you're getting ready to go out with friends. What's a good song to put on?
Just got paid.
Mm,
Johnny Kemp.
that is a good going out song.
Yeah.
That is. That's a classic.
Yeah.
What song? What's your workout song? What's a good song to work out to?
Ooh, this is gonna take. Oh man, I'm showing my age. Alexander O'Neill. Um. Um. Saturday Love.
Oh,
Sherelle.
okay, yeah, with Sherelle.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday Love. Yeah, that one.
Oh, I like it. Another class.
Yeah.
You have all the classics.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a song more people should know about?
Ooh. Van Hunt. Dust.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's a song that we all have to look up if we don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out. And then what's a song that reminds you of summer?
It Never Rains in California. In Southern California by Tony.
Love that song.
Yeah.
Love it. And I went to go see them in November.
Oh God, I wanted to see that tour so bad. How was it?
It was amazing.
Oh,
Like, I didn't want it to end. It
oh
was
man.
so
What city?
good. I went to Oakland because I said if I'm traveling and spending money, I'm going to the home.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah,
Oh, serious.
yeah.
Oh
So
man, I envy you. My
listen,
friend from Australia, Daniel March, he's an artist himself, and he messaged me on Instagram. He's like, "Dude, I'm leaving Australia to go and see them." And he might have been at that concert actually. It was Oakland.
oh wow, yeah, yeah. They
Yeah,
had 2 days in Oakland in
yeah,
November.
yeah. So he might have been at that concert. So
Oh my god,
yeah,
I love that.
damn.
Listen, and then the other day, Raphael posted a little shade towards the brother, so I don't know if they're on good terms. I was like, thank God I went to that show.
Okay, you need to send me that. I need to see that post.
Oh, he's gone. He closed down his page. He left. He left the building.
Raphael closed down his page.
Yeah, he left the building again. He's gone.
What happened?
I guess the brother booked the show.
This is
Like,
Dwayne Wiggins.
yeah, he booked the Tony show
Okay.
in sometime in February, and
Yeah.
I guess they didn't agree on that. And it was like it's him. It's like Dwayne and like other people.
Yeah.
It's not even the other two guys. It's not even Raphael and Tim. So I don't know, but it was just very shady. And then he disappeared off of Instagram again. So I was like,
Wow.
yeah,
Well, I mean, there's always been kind of like trouble in paradise when it came to those guys. So,
yeah.
I'm surprised that they even got back together for this tour. So,
Honestly, I had my fingers crossed that they made it because Oakland was like towards the end of the tour. So I was like, I hope this works out. I really do.
and it's funny because these groups are so important right now because they kind of fill in what's lacking right now,
Hmm.
and it's it's like an injection when these groups come back and put something out or
Hmm.
tour. You know what I mean? It reminds this new generation like, yo, this is where it came from. Like, do your homework.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And I find like seeing shows like that and seeing like real artistry,
Right.
like the instruments that they all play and the way that they put everything together and the live
Hmm.
sound. I don't know. It was just it's very different than from the typical concerts that you will see today from the bigger artists that are out now. I got to see like a lot of concerts this year and well this past year, sorry. And
Yeah.
there you just see a difference
Yeah.
basically.
You see the difference, and the energy's different.
Hmm.
And I mean, I did get to see Raphael Sadiq solo when he
Okay.
came. He came, I think it was back in 2014, when he was touring on his last solo record, and um, like that's probably one of goes down by far as one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I hold him up to Prince, and I saw Prince live.
He started with Prince.
He started with playing. Yeah, he was playing
Yeah.
bass. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so he's just they're from a school that we rarely see anymore.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, did you go and see B?
No, I wasn't selling a kidney to get some
No,
tickets.
neither was I.
I was like, girl, I will catch you online or
I'll
something.
see the movie. How about that?
Yeah.
You know, and respect to her though. I mean, she does what she does incredibly well.
Oh
I
no, she's one of my favorite artists ever, but
yeah,
it's just Ticketmaster done lost their mind with these
yeah,
prices.
truly, truly. I'm just like, I'm trying to do my own thing. I'm not trying to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But
So
I
that's
did
where
see Victoria Monet. I saw her in Toronto. She's really good. No?
I, I I'm not knocking her. She's good at what she does.
Mhm.
her voice doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel anything.
Oh
But yeah, I
no,
heard she's a good writer.
she's an amazing writer, and I do love that she uses instruments,
Yeah,
and she just has that. You could tell that she studied previous artists and
yeah,
decades of writers and different things like that. So her music, I find, is really good. Her live performance is really good, but no, she is not going to wow you with the vocals.
yeah, yeah.
That is that's no. But I
Yeah.
am a fan. I personally I really enjoyed her concert.
Hmm.
Especially because as an artist, she's fairly new, so I feel like it's just gonna, grow even more.
Hmm.
Um, and her songwriting I find is really good too. Yeah.
Right now, I'm looking forward to. She's actually supposed to release her single tomorrow, Audra Day,
Oh yes. Mhm.
and it's coming. And I'm just because I remember the soundtrack to
The Billie Holiday.
Billie Holiday,
Mhm.
and I was like, if this isn't any hint of what she's gonna, what her the next album's gonna be, I'm all for it. And I know she was working with Raphael Sadiq,
Oh, was she?
so yeah. And one of the songs that was on that soundtrack he produced.
Mhm.
So I'm just like I'm excited because she has such a voice,
Yep.
you know. She's got such a tone and just yeah, she's not of this time.
No, she's
No,
incredible.
she's incredible, and just and an amazing actress. So you know, so that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm also excited about what's her name? Ariana Grande.
Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah, that new single is fire.
Really, I have to really listen to it. I only heard a clip of it, and I was just like, hmm.
I when you see the video, it would all make sense. And
Okay.
the yeah, and then just that throwback to that whole '90s era with Vogue, and it's dope.
Yeah,
It's
but her
dope.
voice is just
It's
another voice that's just out of this world.
insane,
Yeah.
insane. So I'm excited to see what she's doing, and I know she's actually starring in the remake of Wicked,
Oh, okay.
and she's
Okay.
gonna be with Cynthia Erivo,
Oh, she's good
and
too.
yeah. So there you go. Those are the artists that you know, I'm
Mhm.
feeling. You know,
Yeah. No,
so
I'm gonna definitely check out Andre Day because I do enjoy her voice and her music too and what she's done so far in her career.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there is a lot of good music. It's just you gotta
finding your way.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
pretty much. This was amazing. It's always good talking to you.
likewise, likewise.
Let the people know if we have anything else we should look out for, but let the people know about the single that's coming out, um, any shows that's coming. Let us know all the things.
Okay. Well, I mean, stay tuned. I'm probably gonna be recording some acoustic versions of it, just live, so you can see it just live online. Um, and I definitely want to do some concerts this summer. I'm probably gonna be releasing another single prior to summer. I haven't figured out exactly what it's gonna be. I've created so much music during the pandemic that I have to finish up on.
Hmm.
So I'm sort of like all those songs are still new to me. Again, I try to create timeless music. So to me, it's as brand new as it can be, regardless of when I wrote it. So I'm excited about that. And um, a shout out to Luwap. Go check him out. His album Ofrenda. He is one of the most phenomenal artists I've ever worked with, and he's my friend. And you need to check him out. Um, he's the it. So, yeah,
Definitely. So yeah, everybody check out Luop and Pride Before the Fall. Definitely check that out. January 26th is the release date. So this should be out by then. So
yeah.
everybody should listen to it. Watch the
Pre-order on iTunes is already it's already in the pre-order link on my bio.
Oh, perfect.
on Instagram. So yeah,
Definitely. All right. So thank you so much, Wayne Tennant.
thank
And also
you.
follow him on social media because, like I said, he's putting some great recipes along with some good music on his pages. So follow him on Instagram at Wayne Tennant as well. So thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Perfect. And this is the Total R&B podcast. We are a bi-weekly podcast. Might have to do this weekly. We don't know. But my name is Loreena, and you can follow me on social media at total.rnb. And I will be back with a new interview.